Hello guys, you're welcome back to Slick Academics. In today's class, we shall be discussing anaerobic respiration. But before then, let's quickly revisit our former classes on glycolysis and Krebs cycle, which are both processes in aerobic respiration. So what is aerobic respiration? It is a type of respiration which requires oxygen to break down glucose into water, carbon dioxide, and energy in the form of ATP. And the formula is as shown on the screen. Glucose is oxidized or is broken down in the presence of oxygen to give us water, carbon dioxide, and energy measured in kilojoules. So let's go into today's topic proper. What is anaerobic respiration? It is the type of respiration which does not require the presence of oxygen to provide energy. During anaerobic respiration, glucose is broken down to yield carbon dioxide, alcohol, and energy. And as shown on the diagram on the screen, glucose is broken down to give alcohol, carbon dioxide, and energy. From the energy content, we can find out that anaerobic respiration is not as efficient as aerobic respiration. That means the energy production is quite low compared to aerobic respiration. The process by which glucose is broken down to alcohol in the absence of oxygen is also called fermentation. Fermentation is the process of breaking down glucose into carbon dioxide, alcohol, and energy. And it is actually overseen by the enzyme in yeast called zymase. Now, let us quickly look at differences between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. The first one, more energy is released in aerobic respiration. When compared to anaerobic respiration, less energy is released. Secondly, it takes place in the mitochondria in aerobic respiration, and in anaerobic respiration, it takes place in the cytoplasm. Thirdly, oxygen is required for aerobic respiration, and anaerobic respiration does not require oxygen. Fourth, the byproducts of aerobic respiration are water and carbon dioxide, while the byproducts of anaerobic respiration are alcohol or lactic acid. Finally, water is given off as byproduct, while anaerobic respiration, alcohol is given off as a byproduct. Even though differences exist between anaerobic and aerobic respiration, they still have some similarities. So some of their similarities include both of them occur in both plants and animals, both also lead to generation of heat, both require enzymes to speed up the reaction, both also lead to release of energy, and finally, both processes give off carbon dioxide as a byproduct. There are situations where the body relies on anaerobic respiration for its energy generation. Such situations include rigorous activities or exercises where the body depends on aerobic respiration for energy production. And for energy to be produced through aerobic respiration, there has to be consistent supply of oxygen. But in a case where the amount of oxygen supplied is no longer enough, the body will automatically switch to anaerobic energy production. The only problem here is that in the process of producing energy through anaerobic process, lactic acid is produced. This is what gives us that burning sensation in our muscles whenever we are exercising or involved in any rigorous activity. This situation is known as oxygen debt, like when you're owing somebody something or some money. Now, how does oxygen debt occur in the body cells? When the cells are using up a lot of oxygen very quickly, especially during vigorous exercise, the muscles, such as the muscles of the leg, use up a lot of energy. And to produce this energy, the mitochondria in the muscles will be combining oxygen with glucose as fast as they can to make ATP, which will provide energy for the muscles. Now, one begins to breathe deeper and faster to get more oxygen into the body. Eventually, a limit is reached. Extra energy can be produced this time by anaerobic respiration. Some glucose is now broken down without combining with oxygen. Now, when this happens, lactic acid is produced. And when the exercise stops, there will still be a lot of lactic acid in the muscles and in the blood, which must be broken down by combining it with oxygen. So the breathing heart continues until extra oxygen is taken in to break down the lactic acid. Then the breathing rate and the heartbeat will return to normal. So this process of taking in as much oxygen as possible to compensate for the quantity of lactic acid that has been produced is known as oxygen debt. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you in my next class where we shall be talking about other examples of aerobic and anaerobic respiration.